Okay, miraculously now it does not say unlisted, so we should be good. Welcome to Archangel Alts, trading with you live without a net. So now I can hear myself in the background. Turn that down. I think that this should work now. So I am once again going to try to share to the socials. And if you have Facebook stuff or Instagram stuff or Twitter stuff and you share to places, please share this with people who are interested in the coins. They shall enjoy, you enjoy too, yes? So almost done here. We got a Twitterify the tweet of Twitteritude. So we made it up to 389 very briefly in the middle of all this stuff. Now we got to work our way back up from 383. So thank you for the weird technical problems. The tube that is you. That was very strange of you. So thank you for joining Archangel Alts, trading with you live without a net. So we are not using stop loss. We're just trading cautiously with a very high return so that our accuracy allows us to hold on to things that we have predetermined are going to eventually clear if they don't clear right away. And you know, the ones that you see that are holding from a long period of time, they look incredibly high in comparison because the market has gone from a steady dive of 60% loss, and then sitting at that, it went down another 50%, and then sitting at that, it went went down another 60% from there. So we are essentially looking at things that are so cautiously prospected in past speculations that we assume they only have to go up about a third of what they've done in the past in order to clear eventually, which tells you how low things, you know, when they're negative 87, negative 90% and more in the red, it is a little bit on the miraculous side if you're doing better than 57% accuracy and putting a stop loss on the 43%. We are hitting about a 98.7% accuracy. Let me just demystify something for some people in case you're wondering, you know, how we're doing compared to others. You'll see these pump groups or signal groups that are claiming, you know, plus 200%, plus 300%. Let me explain to you some of that. The reason that they recommend you signing up with certain sites is because they want you to do margin trading, which gives you a huge amount of leverage by borrowing against. And the reason they want you to do that is because then the pumps will be bigger and they get more money from pre-designated pumping that they already have their low bid on. You know, they put their trades in ahead of time. And so when you go and pump at market, it goes up and up and up and up. And every single person that puts in their money is going to be going in at a higher position. And then within a few seconds, it all sells off. They have already predetermined they're going to get 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60% profit. Everybody else, no matter whether they have bots doing it for them, very few people make out well. But with the, you know, even with the signals where they say, you know, we earned 200% this month, that kind of stuff, what they're saying is that they you know, were trading a certain percentage, but because they did a margin of 10x what their money's worth, they're saying, you know, we used $100 and we earned 100% on that. Well, no, you ended up actually, you know, putting, well, let's say $1,000, and then you did like a 10x margin. You know, you borrowed $10,000 in order to trade the same amount. So your percentage on $10,000 is a lot more than it would have been on the 100 or the 1,000. So these margins that people are doing are not real. They are not real. Yep, not muted. Good deal. So this is good when we see that, you know, even with some of our Morse code, we've come up to 384. We're working our way up to year. And actually, has it sold any of it? Oh yeah, it sold the majority of it. Look, 79.78%. We're almost home, folks. We're almost there. Good stuff. So our friend Izio was talking about XRP, so we're actually going to go and look at that. I like to check out the things that matter to people. So XRP, yeah, if I remember, we were talking 8,300 and up. Yes, very good. That's, I mean, so you can see that it has been somewhat synced with Bitcoin. So that's pretty cool. And it is doing 9,000 Bitcoin 24-hour volume, which is really good for XRP. Usually it's sitting around 6,000 and 7,000. Very good. So also for EZO, I'm going to check out ARC and ADA. ADA, Assistant District Attorney. Nope, that's not what it's actually for. You can see that this is basically leaning upwards with Bitcoin as well. Bitcoin is at 39.11, so it has broken 3,800 as far as its new average goes. And that's not really a median or a mean. It's, you know, when it settles in somewhere where it's not dropping dramatically or spiking dramatically. Look at what a steady actual price would be. I don't really care what it's doing over, you know, actual averaging over hours and days, because it really doesn't tell what it's doing in the short time, which is when you're actually making decisions. Yes, those things matter in the bigger picture, but I'm looking at what Bitcoin's actually worth, and it's worth what it's currently worth. What are people willing to pay, right? So 2019, 2009, that's a good margin in there. Be careful trading on ADA, but as you can see, I mean, it's doing plenty of motion. You really don't want to try to go for those 5 and 10% moves. You want to go a little bit more briskly, and maybe 2% if you're on the high side. Just be cautious and carry a big stick. Walk loosely and kick sticks. Something. Wow, a lot of stuff is crashing because Bitcoin, it's going down. Is it short time? I don't like short time. So we just lost 20. Gosh, it's so funny because, I mean, it doesn't even look like it did anything when you have it on the 15-minute. But there it is. And did Bitcoin go ouchie? Okay, let's see. 38.99. So now we really and truly are just looking for a little bit of stability. I mean, up and down is important, but we want to see that it is holding a value. You know, I mean, that's the main thing. So what did that do to me being able to finish this pattern? So, of course, that, yeah, can't really visualize. This is still on an upward trend. So it's very possible that it went down quick enough that it, you know, didn't make a large disruption to things. So I'm going to kind of test this out again in this range. Yeah. EOS, still pretty interesting. Yeah, it's got the same little cliff there. You're going to see it looks exactly like Bitcoin. Check this out. Check this out. They look almost identical, don't they? So it's just a little bit ahead of EOS. EOS is going to correct right around here. Why? Because Bitcoin just did. Actually, it's got its own pattern going on over here, so that actually is already the correction. I correct myself. See? ONG was actually pretty interesting looking earlier. This is kind of funny. I have OMG, ONT, OST. So ONG is the newly listed gas for ontology coin. And this motion that it does is actually pretty darn heavy duty liquidity. So 202, for instance, only needs to go to 20,400. And that sounds a lot, but it's right there. And it does this extremely quickly. So like maybe maybe we can try getting in at 20133. 20133. And that would be 20333 that would be trying to get out. Which it just did. I literally said it out loud and it did it. That was freaky. OMG. Oh, in goodness. I don't say oh my god. I say oh my gosh. But oh my goodness is even better, isn't it? I don't know. Most people don't really care about that stuff. I care a little bit. I do care. Okay, so I still think less than 202. And all of this is high in comparison to anything we can give it a basis for before Bitcoin's thing. So I just, I obviously do not want to get stuck in anything. But it's got good 24-hour volume. So what we're going to watch is we're going to see if 2673 goes up. So not right now, it doesn't. But I mean, if it's losing anything at all, then I can't afford to get stuck in there. All right, so that's good. You still got something there. You still got something. So I would even consider going back in as it's going up. I was thinking of just taking some very small margins. 381 to 383. I might just kind of stick with, since I'm watching it anyway. Main thing is not to get, overly optimistic about something if it's not the right time for it. 3906, 3907. I like that Bitcoin was able to come right back up. It is at $238 million being traded in a 24-hour time. Hey, Ezio. Hey, fantastic. Welcome to Binance. Man, that's awesome. That's exciting. They make it easy to see your withdrawals and deposits too, and they'll keep a record of it. You can either use the client or use the browser or both. I like kind of jumping back and forth between the two. Ezio is a smart dude. He pays attention to things that are going to directly affect his future, hopefully in an extremely profoundly positive way. Sounds like he's been making some smart trades too. So we sold our IOST. That was a real relief. It wasn't really a big trade, but it was just kind of weighing heavy on me because I was frustrated that it was down in the 187 range. And then that big ol' Bitcoin spike just helped it go. And now I'm actually interested in getting in much higher positions than where we were to begin with. So it's kind of the fun of the shorter term stuff. Obviously, if I knew what the future would hold, then I could have kept my 199 going. But you don't know. You don't know what comes next. That's kind of the whole point. Yeah, I was just talking about XRP. I was watching it because of our previous conversations. So, I've been a little bit, optimistic. And I think when we were talking about it over the past couple of days, we were looking at it in the 8,300 range. And kind of feeling like, yes, over time, I think that it is going to continue to increase. I think that it's going to be worth dollars. I don't think it's going to happen immediately. And it is kind of tracking what Bitcoin is doing. In fact, let me see if I can do a compare. I'm going to change this out for XRP. I said I'm going to change this one out. Oh, I already have. I did it down here instead. Gotcha. So I wonder if it's possible that we can make these bigger if I do that. Nope. I don't think it works that way. Well, it's kind of tough to, these windows are really too small to justify that, so I'm not even going to try. We're going back to it this way. So look at this in Bitcoin at the 1 minute. and then look at the same thing with XRP. It's actually holding its own pattern, but it's kind of being pulled down by Bitcoin too. So be a little bit careful in this range if you're looking to go back in, or if you're doing a longer time, then you're cool. Yeah, I would. From our marketing side of things, I've talked to the person that's kind of working the promotion side of things too, and I really think that somebody like ourselves, if we can stabilize going into the next month and then the next month after that, for what we're trying to do, our hopes are to be able to reach out to ICOs and some of the emerging coins that are serious about the projects. And, this is not the reason that I'm going to do, news articles and stuff on them. I'm going to do that no matter what because I want to see the market succeed. But we're thinking of helping them with our marketing on just reaching their user base because, let's face it, that's going to help the market anyway. But, the mass adoption of crypto, this is the year for it to happen. Last year was the year for it to correct and for us to learn how to kick some butt on the exchange. This is the year where ICOs need to prove their worth, and it couldn't be any more on point, kind of having a finger on the pulse of things than the recent Binance announcement of delisting 5 coins. So that was just kind of, fuel to fire. Yeah, causing your own spikes. But yeah, I think that, we want to encourage good projects to do well and to reach their crowd. And the end result is going to be that more people have trust in trading things more long term. You can't say, well, we guarantee there's not going to be bad volatility, but what we'd love to see is that the volatility isn't there because people think that everything is a scam ERC20 that's just going to go to the bottom of the Cryptopia list. I don't care, for the 3 seconds that somebody's pump group benefits from something, there's 5,000 other people that just lost money over the next days thinking that it's going to repeat. They don't understand that it was an inside job, man. It was an inside job. So, let's see. Bitcoin is still getting sold off pretty sharply. Wow, that's like thousands and thousands and tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and that is at about 38.92. All right, fine. Force me to show Bitcoin again. Hey. So, Ezio, if you have any difficulty in just your first kind of getting around Binance, go to our playlist that says Binance Basics. And it's going to show you what all the different things mean. But you probably already know that stuff. But if you don't, it's very Binance specific. And there's a 4th video on its way that is the comparison between this and the browser version, because there are some things that I like on one versus the other that are better. Each of them have things that I like better. So I actually trade between the two of them, and for the most of the time, I've got this set up to where the screen works correctly, etc. Do you come from the land down under? For some reason, I've always felt comfortable trading on Binance. I've been on Yobit and one I can't even remember what it was, and Cryptopia, and like 3 others. And I just never, I don't know. I don't really like their layouts a whole lot. But also the fees are really good on Binance. And CZ is just, he's a really good business guy. He better not be a bad dude that's just really good at disguising stuff. Because I've been saying good things about him, because I think good things about him. I've been impressed. But yeah, I think that just taking a little time in the videos it's worth the time. And once you are comfortable with it, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. Everything that you're looking for is there. But just like little cosmetic things, like there's 2 side windows instead of switching between one window here in the browser version. And it's just you have to mentally make sure that you tell yourself you're looking at limit. Make sure you're actually switching between buy and sell. You don't accidentally hit one versus the other. I have absolutely done every single one of these things wrong once, maybe twice. It's amazing how fortunate you can be in those times when you fall asleep or do something wrong. We have made so few mistakes, and we should have. No, I mean, okay. I'm not going to talk about that too much, but yeah, it's easy to make little goof ups. So hopefully those videos will help with that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I feel like, I am using a real exchange. I mean, there have been times where I'll be sitting there and like looking like, okay, where do I switch? Where do I switch the coins? Where do I switch? Oh, wait, I'm not in the browser. They're over here. So for me, it's like having things right in front of me is not, what's obvious to other people. I think so deeply into the layers of things. I can usually talk about details that most people miss, but the really, really, really obvious stuff that I should absolutely know what I'm talking about, I just don't even see it sometimes. So. Yeah, are you in the browser? Like in Chrome? Or Safari? Or Microsoft Edge? Or Firefox? Or Brave? Check me out, Mr. Browser Savvy Man. Okay, do I really want to know? Oh, yeah, okay. It's in the right direction. Patience, a virtue. Cool, going to the group now. I love it. We're finally starting to get to use this thing. Huh. And is this in the client, dude? Okay, yeah. So it is the browser. Gotcha. I see it in the address there. So yeah, that's how it should look. Yeah, that's wild. There's a slightly different layout. So I wonder, that's really interesting. So you're going to look for the word indicators, and it's got a pull down list, and it'll let you choose BOLL for Bollinger Bands. And that's what we're using. And then I also have MACD. I do not use MA, which is something that it usually recommends. And in the left, you'll see time. Well, in your, let's see where it is on yours. Yeah, it looks like you're already in the minutes. It looks like you've got VWAP. Dude, yours is different. This is weird. I see the VIP maker taker thing as well. I'm wondering if it is. Are you on a Mac? First, I guess that's the first thing is whether it's Mac and PC dependent. And second of all, they might be rolling out like different betas for when you sign up, kind of thing. Because yeah, the layout is different. It's like different. So make sure that it says limit in the bottom left. You don't want to do market orders because they can be radically different from what you think the current order actually is. I'm looking at the picture that you sent for the insignias for like it's got CIS BTC and VET USDT in the bottom. New 7-day high. Okay, my OBS just had to reset itself. The streaming thing just had to reset. Yeah, okay, that's what it is. You have the night vision thing on, whatever they call it, where you have a nice looking black background. Go back to Binance and then under Exchange, click Advanced. And I think that's going to give you the same look as what we're doing. I think that I was thinking way too far outside the box of what the reasoning was. Okay. So, yeah, sorry, I had a little disconnect there. So go back to the main, like click the word Binance, it'll take you to their homepage. I mean, it'll be there like immediately. And then under Exchange, there's Basic and Advanced. Go ahead and choose Advanced. But you'll be so familiar with it because that's what you see in the window here all the time. Really and truly, if you do take the time to watch the playlist with the Binance stuff, it will answer your questions for sure. I don't mind answering them here, but you know, if you need a reference while you're getting around and stuff. The layout for the advanced version, it still has the two separate windows for your buys and your sells, so that part is pretty cool. When you're using the client, you'll see right here, instead of having two windows, you switch back and forth between them. And, you know, at first I was like terrified of pressing this button until I really trust myself that it was just switching between the one I would actually choose down here. But in both cases, you want to make sure that it's on the limit tab. It probably always will be. But a market order is saying, I refuse to wait until it gets to my position. I'm going to put my order in now. And people assume that market order means whatever the going price is, but it's whatever it's resolving on the books. So if it's doing the math behind this and it says I can't find a buyer or seller for, let's say, 578, it might use your market order at like 582 or something in order to finish the math there. So market is like, it'll, charge you a premium for, not being a maker or a taker. You're actually causing the books to have to fulfill your order ahead of other people. So it might actually be the actual amount, but there's a very good chance it won't be. So that's a market order. That's putting stop limits. You don't want to do any of that stuff. Stay on limit. Limit, limit, limit. Always limit. Bingo. That's the way you want it. Good deal, man. Very cool. Hey, did you use our reference when you signed up? Not, I mean, it's okay if you didn't, but I'm curious because I want to see like how they, somewhere buried in the program, they tell you like whether you're saving this amount or whether you got this amount issued of such and such. But yeah, I promise you that once you start clicking the buttons around, it makes more and more sense. So now you will actually be able to see that the indicators are in that top left. Right now your indicators say MACD and MA. So you can keep the MACD and X out of the MA, click indicators and choose BOLL. And that'll give you the bands that you see. Unless you want something different, but I'm going to recommend those highly. Thank you for using the group though, man. It's really, really awesome. It feels like we're accomplishing what should happen, within each given week, during a rollout with a soft launch on stuff. It's like fun to, you've created the group and now it's starting to get used and people are enjoying like posting stuff and news. Now I'm going to have to be more diligent about that, doing that as well. I'm behind on the website, behind on posting things to the group. But I think that if the excuse is I'm here live trading around the clock, then that should be okay. Oh my goodness. So yeah, we got to get the word out pretty quickly. Things are going well. Things are going well. Going well. 512 to 515, that would have been just fine. Not really as wide a range as I feel like doing. That's all right, man. I understand. Sounds like it's raining outside, so hopefully that won't be too bad. That's probably the reason that we had a slight hiccup on the stream a second ago. IOST. Should I really trade over 200? That was so not a song. Okay. How much do you owe ST? Oh yeah, I got you. Well, I've mentioned it in my video. But yeah, if you see at the bottom where it says start trading cryptocurrencies today, sign up for Binance Exchange right here. And it's got a link to Binance with the reference thing. But in the, like when I was first starting to do the video stuff, I talked about it in the Binance Basics and that stuff. So in my mind, it's like a lot more obvious than it actually is. I guess since I'm pushing for, subscribe to us on YouTube, ring the bell so you get notifications. Go to Archangel Alts, join the group. It's like I don't want people to feel like every single thing we've done is spammy, But yeah, I'll actually make a point that the referrals help. But see, what if people are like, why do I want to help you? I'm already signing up for the thing. So you never know how people think. Well, yes, you do. Don't you? New drip sounds happening everywhere. As long as they're all outside, I'm okay with that. It's raining. We do actually have a very small drip getting through the roof somehow. We've had 3 different people come and do exactly the same thing that didn't help. So I'm kind of thinking Flex Seal is coming up somewhere in the future. Fortunately, it's not too bad. Curious what you're thinking, IOST. So we've done our mirror. This is something I'll refer to often. It's a perfect example of a mirror position. In fact, when you've got it, use it. I'm actually going to make a nice space here for that, and now you can't see it. That's hilarious. Okay, Doi on the Bollinger Bands. Wow. Multiple different things just dropped. See, why now? It went down a lot for a long time, and then it came back up a tiny bit, and then it went down like $2. And that's the one that triggered a whole bunch of coins to sell off. Storm, Salt, GTO, QLC, IOTX. All took a plop at the same time. So I'm actually going to take a screenshot here. And then hit the side of my head on the microphone and... Un momento, por favor. So that should now be in the group. Ezio and Kuma and Prophet. You guys can see that now. Before the 19,000 spike? I personally actually owned Litecoin before I owned Bitcoin. Believe it or not. And yeah, my actual ownership of any coins is pretty much right at the start of the trading process when we started looking around for the exchanges. I mean, 15 months. We've always kind of, we have a close friend that has been into Bitcoin a long time that's always kind of kept us up on things. So we started watching it like probably 2011-ish, 2012. 2011, yeah. But yeah, didn't own any until, just realizing that I was really starting to get interested in trading and doing paper trading and stuff. And I was like, okay, well, here we go. But, wow, I think it was the position 215 up there that was making the order book actually shift sideways. That was pretty cool. Oh, I don't know if I want to go in there or not. Because it's dipping down there because of Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin goes back up, then it doesn't do it in, dramatic, scary ways, then it'll be okay. But there's an irony to going back in at 202 when I got out at 199. I think I'm not in the mood for doing that. I think it might drop more. Or let's say, erring on the side of caution, I'm concerned that it might drop more. I don't really know what it's going to do. So Bitcoin, there's this thing that I'd like to finish up here, if you don't mind. I'd rightly prefer to do it. We do have a friend that had been given Bitcoin at a much lower amount and was holding it and was looking for, what do I do? Somebody has offered me a check for $16,500 to buy it from me right now. And they're really wishing that they had sold it to them now, I think. Yeah. 19 sounds a lot better than 3,500 if you're just looking to buy it once, sell it once. Yes, that's your limit orders on Binance. You'll say, like for instance, I'll do a limit order for 203, and then once it's gone in, you'll say I want to sell it at 207. You'll do a limit sell order at 207. Choose that and boom, and it'll just sit there and it'll fulfill it for you. So it's kind of funny to see on the screen, 3,800 is looking low compared to the 3920, 3920, 38, I think it did. I believe so. Gosh. Can't decide. Gotta go with the gut. Got to go with the gut. Even if it takes longer, even if it... whatever. Yeah. So XLM has been making some really good movement. Look at that volume. Really nice. So this only needs to move about 20 points. Yeah, limit orders are great. It's definitely the good logical way to do it. Some of the bots will like automatically handle that. You just tell it the percentage ahead of time and it'll handle selling for you. The problem that I have with that is that I actually like knowing how my input and output is affecting the order book. So I don't want to wait until it comes into position to put my sell order in. I actually want to put my sell order in and let it know that that needs to be filled by somebody else's buy order. But that's getting into advanced stuff. Advanced Things by Archangel Alts. Super mega advanced stuff. Yeah, every order is a calculation on the order book, and if it doesn't know what you're thinking of doing yet, it's not really designed to anticipate it all over there. A smart order book could anticipate it even if it wasn't there. So that's a little bit on the freaky side of things. 7:40 p.m. 5:13 a.m. Okay. So yeah, I want to make sure that I wasn't missing something completely there. Theta still down. TNT, good. Good. Steam, I'm glad you're in the 800s, but ready for you to start doing something. Oh, I tried to hold that yawn off. Am I boring me? No, I'm fine. Thank me. Po. Still following. Still falling. Wow. I think I'm more tired than I knew I was. Oh no, you didn't. He's been using the dark net. The dark web. Yeah, I'm betting that that's feeling like a really expensive purchase now. Ah, see, ONG, it did come down, so glad of deciding to stay on the safe side of things. It either had started to fill that, or I don't think so. It's like I think that did I have some because it's a drop on ONT? Is that how that works? I don't even know. Somebody should tell me that. Let's see. I think I'm going to ask in a group real quick. Let's see. Okay, so I think I asked that correctly. I wonder what I hit in the background. So that was interesting, whatever it was. I think my shoulder hit that. $19,400, $19,600. Still going down because Bitcoin's going down. What are we gonna do? What do? What do you? It's already bounced a little from 201. 38.86, and we're going into 5 a.m. Well, if you have that amount after fees, then it's better than nothing for sure. But what I do is I pretend that a Bitcoin is $10,000, and I mean you could just make it the same in AUD. It's not really about the cash amount; it's about rounding to tens, since that's what we're going to be using here. So once you've brought it into the Bitcoin world, your 1.0 is a single Bitcoin. Pretend it's 10,000 AUD. And then your 0.1 is your thousands. Your next one over is your hundreds, then your tens, then your ones, then your pennies. So, like, if you look at me here on the screen, where it says 201, this is a Bitcoin. This is $10,000, let's say. This is $1,000. This is $100. This is $10. So that's 3 over. So 4 over is $1. 5 over is a penny, and then the last 3 are fractions of a penny. So you could see, like, for this, it's rounding this up as a value of Well, it's converting over to Bitcoin from the dollar, so that isn't the point. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. There. So you got your thousands, hundreds, tens, ones. So I mean, yeah, I mean, pennies are pennies, man. It's real money. It's not real big money, but if you do it 1,000 times, it starts to become real money. That's kind of the idea. SEB, his modus operandi from working with us on stuff for a while, is to buy low, sell slightly less low. And that really is the idea. I'll never turn down a 1%, a 2%, a 10%, a 30% if that's the obvious thing that's happening, but I never want to let greed keep me from having actually gotten a profit. So many times I've erred on the side of, I hope it makes more sense. Either that or, tongue in cheek, then we have a problem, man. But, yeah. So, if you think about, you got your dollars into Bitcoin, now you're just dealing with units, so you want to very quickly be able to do the economics of things. And, if you're always thinking of like, what was that fraction of? I have no idea what this is worth anymore. So I've tried to really develop having a mindset to where everything is worth Bitcoins. Everything is being traded against BTC. And I mean, if you're really good at this stuff, then you can mentally do the same acrobatics with Ethereum or XRP or whichever ones you want to trade against. I personally think that it makes sense to make BTC the standard that you're trading against, unless, we're sitting here, we're trading everything, and then it just absolutely goes to the moon. It's like $400,000. Then, okay, I'm moving some Bitcoin over to USDT, and I'll wait until it falls and then buy it back over to Bitcoin. We'll have a lot more Bitcoin. I'm still going to look at that value as being Bitcoin. So, I'm not looking to short Bitcoin because I want money really bad right now. I want Bitcoin to be around to help us to make money, 10 days, 10 weeks, 10 months from now. And if we are 100 millionaires before that 10 months comes along, then that's even better. Muy bien. So things are falling more, and is kind of, you look at the bigger picture and people wonder, well, Bitcoin went up, then how is it that everything else is going down? It gains, sync with Bitcoin at certain points, and it loses sync at certain points, and it's all about the rate, the tempo of things. There's music in the speed of this market, and it moves to the heart of nervous, worried, and greedy people, and that just be the truth. It's true that. So it spiked at 196. It looks like, but the truth of the matter is that it did just a little bit of stair stepping here, and it sat fairly sideways here and barely sideways here. So like if you were to zoom this out to where you don't see those sides, this is all pretty sideways. It's up and down 90, 91, 92. So this was, a temporary wow. So yeah, I was checking it out, I think, over here, and I just had to get into taking a break from things. I wish I hadn't had to do it at that time, because that was some good positions there. Yeah, XRP is definitely an interesting one for the longer huddles. For sure. Okay. I'm just kind of clicking around because I'm waiting for some things to correct, and I'm not sure when they're going to do that because Bitcoin. This is an example of the catchphrase that is coming for 2019: decoupling. We don't want to be relying on Bitcoin for whether our stuff goes up or down. We want to set a new standard and decouple from Bitcoin. It's like, okay, you realize that we're all here because of Bitcoin. No Satoshi, no Bitcoin, no cryptocurrency. So let's see. Take another look at OST. This is all kind of stuff that is, sitting flat until further notice. And unfortunately, the chances are good that Bitcoin starts to go a little flat over a couple of days because of the spiking that happened today. I'm hoping that that's not the case. If it can continue up and move through the 4,000s, that would be really nice. And I think that we would see this stuff get left behind a little bit more and then start to catch up a bit more. And if it does that, then we'll fly through the 389. We'll fly through the 617. I'm not sure if it'll get through the 660s that we have on the other OST. This will probably still take some time. In cash, don't really care. It's going to do it when it does it. I care. Of course I care. Steam, yeah. Phoenix. Wish it could have done it the other day. It was so close. It was at 255. Yep, 255. And you can see from the past 2 weeks, look at that range. So if you're really good at your... I actually probably wouldn't take anybody's position on like 48 hours high and low type stuff. I would actually write these down daily if that's how you want to become familiar with stuff. Or, take a picture in your tablet. But get to know what these are regularly, and then boom, you can do swing trading if you're wanting to move at a slower pace. Which you might actually find that you're good at stocks if you want to do things like every 3 or 4 days. There's probably some really good stuff to follow. It's a big market, and even some of the penny stocks are more legit than some of the poop coins. XLM, very impressive. Very impressive. 2150 to about 2270. See, I wouldn't consider that there. I would consider that there. Lots of volume. Right up there with Bitcoin. Yeah, and that's the thing too, is that I think that if Ethereum puts a good word out there on Ethereum 2.0 and what they're resolving, and hopefully there's not glitchy problems that, the 51% thing or the double spend thing, verifying transactions on both ends, whatever that means, it means something important, and the programmers know that they need to fix it. But I think that it's got a lot of wiggle room. I think that it can do a lot more fast growth than Bitcoin is likely to do because of the mining side of things. But wasn't it like 38 billion to 80 billion over like its biggest to smallest recent numbers? Because the overall market, the actual overall value buys and sells 14 months or so ago, it was headed for like 560 billion. And I think the entire market was tapping out between 80 billion and 104 billion. 38 billion is the number that I had in my head for Ethereum. Wow. Everything just crashed. Like 8 different coins just went. I can only read the last one. Storm, DLT, Raven, Fuel. It's not showing me the others. There were several others though. It makes me chuckle. So I might need to just kind of wrap this up if there's not going to be anything to get into. Golly, these uber spikes, massive spikes. Oh, let's see. It's only, these are pretty low for doing what they're doing. So let me take a look at this real quick. Don't touch this. Don't touch it. ABC doesn't surprise me. Ethereum Classic doesn't surprise me. Go. Okay, it is what it is. XLM just needs to move in 20. See, I'm much more comfortable catching it on the way up than something that is, stair-stepping way up there already. 22 to 24.40. That's got potential. How high is it from its average? Very low. Very nice. So yes, I would be interested in not getting stuck down here. Come to think of it, I have not decided yet whether to officially invest in your product, sir. Ours is held back by a 1.46 Bitcoin order, whether it's a person or a group. Yeah, exactly. Sometimes you can tell just from like when the orders are going in and coming out whether that one spike is going to be it, or whether it's actually trending. It's like here's a little bit of movement, here's a little bit more movement, here's a lot more movement, but is that going to be it, or is it still ramping up to something? See, here to me is the spike, but I see a lot of potential. I'm going to add the MACD in and drive some people crazy that I would go in when these are about to converge down. It kind of incentivizes doing it though, because it makes them crazy. Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of thinking it's going to be doing 2400 at some point, but absolutely could be wrong. Oh, I don't know. I'm kind of thinking of letting this be the crossover time. ADA is looking good for a position there too, though. See, I've got my eye on you. See, 87 to 97 is all that would really need to do. Gonna test a little bit low. Storms up, waves up. You go, waves. 706. Yeah, it's already doing what we see it doing. Let's see. Get me to waves. Same position. Exactly same position. So 706371. That's not a lot for it to have to do, but let's get back over at ADA and see what it's doing in the smaller. Oh gosh, I just don't know. 91, 1201. It did 1213 the last time. It really looks like it's doing it, but I would rather have been anticipating it slightly earlier than that. Two more things spiked. We shall see what they are. QLC and IOST. But that's just IOST back to 205. It was doing 203 and 204. Ain't no thing. OST got 25, 35, 37 more to do. TNT's got 9 more points to do. Looks like it's going to do it. I mean, this is its binary looking version of the same thing the other guys are doing. 5:33 in the morning. Surprised about CIS. It's not usually doing that, and this wasn't just like a runaway spike. So S&M is up, Storm is down. See, Storm, I mean, I'm actually going to remove it from the indicators because, I mean, it literally just goes up and down one position all the time. It is a binary. Binary locomotive is what it is. That kind of sounds like a song. Binary locomotive. 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 3. Yeah, that little curve is something that when I'm a little more well rested, a little more on my game, a little less sinus stuff going on. That'll be good. It's good. So ONG, it's usually if especially something in the kind of positions that it does, I would normally not want to go in with a real 3-digit over. You know, it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is, you know, up to $1. DLT is up, QLC is down. It's moving rather quickly, and if you look at the current value, 19,442. So we're going to go to, I'm guessing that that's the right setting. I hope I got that right. 19,442. 1, 9, 4, 4, 2.7%. It's only 136 that has to do, so it'd be 442 to 578. So we go back over here, get my Binance view set up. So 19772, 19442. Oh my goodness, I forget these things immediately. Less than 200 it has to go up. So like 447, 577, 677. Doing more than 1% from here to here. And it does it rather briskly, which is, you know, it's a big risk in a very short period of time. If you time it just right, it's worth it. The man's crazy for the XRP, see? Yep. It just amazes me that, I mean, they're doing so much in the industry, and it still has so much further to go in value. I'd like to understand how the transactional side of Ripple is connected to the value as a coin, and in doing so, it'll be just really interesting. So right now it is 4 decimals in, and it was 3 decimals in. 8 times 4, 8 times 3. About 3x there. Is that the highest it was there? Yeah. I mean, I think it's reasonable to think of just a massive amount of XRP in dollars. I think that it makes sense. I think that it'll have its time. But, I mean, somebody could come in and just wipe the floor with it, and, I mean, that's the industry. It could absolutely happen. They could also partner with somebody if they are getting in trouble, and then everybody would really hate them if it became, you know, JPM XRP, for instance. Yeah, that's really awesome, man. I mean, I think that I have to admit that some of the mass adoption is going to come from just use, you know, but it's like anything that is so up and down in value, like let's say you want a, let me think of a really good reason, a really good example. Like you want $100 tablet that's really, really cool. And, you know, you're into crypto and stuff, and you've got your XRP. And on day one, you know, you're like, hey, if I spend an XRP, I'm actually saving from, you know, because my XRP has gone up in value, and so I could actually transfer it to this and then buy in fiat. Or, you know, you can think in terms of, do you actually want to buy it using the coin, or do you want to leverage the fact that you know what you're doing with crypto to say, hey, I could get it, you know, at a cheaper price by just cashing out the part that I want to make the transaction with. The other side being that, like, if Bitcoin is very weak and they've set their value to the daily transactional value, then you can do a little bit of smart arbitrage and say, okay, Bitcoin is worth this on this exchange, that on that exchange. you could try to get a slight margin and get a better deal on your $100 tablet. Just trying to think of variations of knowing that things go up and down 10%, 20%, 30%, and you're thinking of selling and buying things in stores. You still have to kind of do the mental acrobatics of, did I only like this as an $80 tablet or $120 tablet or a $70 tablet or a $200 tablet, depending on what my coins are worth. Versus trading on the exchange, you see that fluctuating value and everything, and you just want to get more of X, Y, or Z, in my case, Bitcoin. And, so I know that right now if I cashed out Bitcoin, it's not my $10,000 example. But, we've traded when it was 6, when it was 8, when it was 10. We've seen it fluctuate a lot. But, you get to a certain point where we'll be doubling, and then that time to doubling will be shorter, and it's exponentially shorter. And we've seen that that actually works. So at some point in time, if you reach a Bitcoin and then, a month later you've reached another Bitcoin, and then 3 weeks later you've reached another Bitcoin, et cetera, eventually you don't care when it far superseded the dollars that you actually went in with. At that point in time, I'm willing to buy everything with Bitcoin. I've got so much more. I don't care if it's at, $200, but I've won myself through trading, 2,000 Bitcoins. Even if it's weak against the dollar, I'll buy dinner, I'll buy a car, because I've got plenty of it, and I know how to effectively trade it and leverage it against my purchases of value. And now I might have, a car that would have cost me $20,000, and it cost me, let's say that I did that at today's value, if my Bitcoins were worth 4,000 and I went in at 8 or 9, but I've got, 300 times more of them, then, technically if I went in with 10 grand and I came out with $400,000 worth of Bitcoin because of the trading, even if there's a chance that it will be 3 million worth of Bitcoin at a later point, by that time I will have actually traded up more. Crazy stuff. Yeah, I think the planning it mentally out is part of the fun of all of this. I agree with you. Yeah, keep it in there. If you don't need it, keep it in there, grow it, trade it against other stuff, get it back in again. And I'm going to be back in just a minute. Oh, okay, TNT. So like this amount is just the residual that's left over from the size of the trade. And 1,110. 1. So it is. I have accumulated a penny here. I'm gonna call my accountant. 610, 579. Oh, okay. I got a bit of a long haul there. XBG is still not quite able to pull out of the whole binary thing. It's actually not bad for swing trading, letting things roll over a day or two. Let's see. BTS is down. Yeah. Wrong one. Let's see. So close. So close. Things could change very quickly, but from what I'm seeing, it's not the right time for any of the kind of positions that I'm looking to get in. So let's see. That would be about 635. That seems like nothing, but I can just tell that things are slowing down. It's really amazing because Bitcoin is still at 244 million on its Binance 24V. 24 HV. Yeah, 24-hour volume, 2 HV. That's the way we're going to say it. 19327. Just going to see. Such a wide gap. Really weird that it can do that much movement and all of these are so small. Actually, I sold all of our TNT on the browser, so it is time for... Yay! Woohoo! And... So got that going for us. Haven't finished selling it over here, so I don't really feel like victory time yet, because it was getting close, and now it's getting back into that stupid 379 range again. But I mean, if you know Bitcoin like I know Bitcoin, then you wouldn't blame it either. Something along those lines. Somebody getting loopy. Yes. Well, isn't it interesting, just even with just a little bit of binary movement, you can see this point of resistance here. But I actually think that it is holding support and going to go above that. That's what's weird about it. It's just a gut thing. That's not actually what the signal is saying, that I'm trying to go up, but you keep pushing me down every time I try to go up beyond this. But I really think that it's trying to push beyond that. I do. And even though it's about to say that it's going down, I still feel like it's trying to push beyond that. It's one of those weird instinct things, and I could absolutely be wrong. It's like if this was at 19.4, then we could have sold at 19.556. But it looks to me like it's going to start going down instead of consolidating upwards. Isn't that interesting? It's an example of the other thing was doing exactly the same kind of stuff. See, this one has its resistance up here, and because it's already come up here and it's hitting a ceiling, it seems like it's weakening there, and it's not going to be able to continue upwards, where I think that I might be able to get in slightly down here and it would go up some. Tough call, but that's lower than it's been at 211, and yet it's been struggling in the 190 range. Not at all worth getting stuck up there. Not even a little bit. Oh, I gotta play it safe, but you know what? My gut's gonna end up being right. It's gonna end up going up. I tell you this because I know this for some weird reason. I don't know why. There's no good reason to believe that that's the case. This one's headed for a breakout. This one's headed for 208. I don't know why, I just see it that way. It's not actually weighted to go in that direction. Yeah, that is really cool. And if you learn how to think of global economics in that way, then you could actually become really good at Forex trading and doing arbitrage between the values of different coins on different exchanges. Right now, you could, your Bitcoin. Here, let me just show you what I'm talking about. Stop describing things and just show them, man. So if you see the value of Bitcoin, not the other things, against PAX is 38.69, against USDC is 38.62, against USDS is 38.67, and against USDT is 38.89. So right now, there's a $22 difference between these two. And, there's some way to move them with the fees being as low as blah, 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 to where you could trade into one and out of the other. Thoughts on gas? It's impossible to believe that two guys online talking about money stuff could click on something called gas and not make a potty joke, but not going to do it. Wouldn't be prudent. What was it that did we sell it at 679, I believe? Yes. See, if I don't try to think, then I'm usually pretty good with number stuff. So 680 was our highest there. So the fact that it's, we made the right move at the right time there, that feels really good. It's pretty narrow right now, and it's going to break one way or the other. It's kind of similar to those other two we were looking at. And hold on just a second. Yeah, cool. I've got a customer that I have to help answer a technical question on. So, gas. I would wait until after it breaks out here to see whether it breaks down or up. If it breaks up, then wait for the next wave after that. If it breaks down, then wait until it hits a good bottom and buy back in. Because, I mean, I think that it looks like there's, the question is whether you have more than 6 points to move. And if it's right around 6 or 7, then I wouldn't do it. But if you have, I like to have as much as like 18 if I'm trying to move 6 points in either direction. Just to make sure that I don't get stuck somewhere. So this is, it's a little tricky because it's 3 decimals in, 3 positions in. So you have to actually mentally, like right there, you see 60396. Just lot those last 2 off because you're looking at the 603, 604, 605, 606. Recently, it has been worth, pretty good bit lower, but that was because of it's so tough when the spikes are there to see the actual amount. I think that it's going to probably recover pretty well. So, I mean, it's a fairly safe range once it's done like its next 20-30 minutes worth of stuff. I like always looking at things in terms of and recommending towards getting in and out of things at a decent, safe profit as quickly as possible because the market changes so quickly. And most people are thinking in terms of, daily and weekly highs and lows. And even if you see a trend, this is not regular stock market stuff where it's a guarantee that it's going to continue to repeat. There's the thing I was talking about. But, I mean, honestly, that's not really worth holding out for. The volume's going up here, so I think IOST is actually going to give us a little bit of room there. People are loading up on it now. See, these were not here before. Shifting around a lot there. Somebody else sees the same thing. That's interesting. And that's not bot movement, to test the position and then shift it around like that. They shifted between 7.2 and 4 Bitcoin, between 201 and 204. It's very interesting. My gosh, I felt like Rain Man right there. I'm a good counter, a good counter. Let's just take one last look at the scanner, and then I'm going to probably take a break for now. Lind, we like you. Where have you been? What you been doing lately? Helicopter. That's just one move there, but it's doing fairly similar movement. And if it's on the way up, yeah, that could be pretty cool. 185 to 210 is a pretty big deal. You think about how much other stuff has moved with Bitcoin, and you can see this moves much more subtle, and it's very low in volume. The lower the volume, the less power it has to get up and down. So you'll see similar positions, but weaker versions of them. And this, we're looking at the 19.4 to 19.5 to 19.6. So yes, it has done that. It's a little bit scary getting in on something this new, but it is really moving quickly and spiking nicely. These are happy little patterns, happy patterns. Ion is up. I like Ion. I don't know why. I don't know if it deserves my praise. Lots and lots of Morse code. And then there's this. Feeling a little loopy. Yeah, guys, I think that's it for me for now. Things have tapered off a bit, and I say that sometimes it's 5 minutes ahead of 6 a.m., sometimes it's 15 minutes in, and then somewhere around 8 or 9, well, really, gosh, 7, 8, or 9, things could spike pretty hard. If you're on a different clock than I am, and being up right now isn't any big deal to you, then you might want to keep your eye on the market. After a huge day that it's been, the morning crowd is going to be coming in, and that might be the afternoon or evening crowd somewhere else. I'm not exactly sure, but I know to watch it throughout the AM if you can. So for now, I think I'm going to go ahead and wind this down. I will take one last look at XRP, which, man, yeah, for sure. And I mean, with 10,000 Bitcoin, it's extremely liquid right now. So thinking in terms of you want it to move at least 80. It's like if it was 8,600, 8686 would do it. It's like 8642, so like 8730, 8720. Just as far as getting in and out with some. I know that you want to hold some. You could hold some and then continue to trade some back and forth. And, you know, the thing about watching certain coins that you're interested in, even if they may not be like the fastest to trade, if you get familiar with them, they have a personality. They move at certain speeds, and they move in relation to Bitcoin at certain speeds. So what I recommend to you, dude, is if you got a phone and a tablet, or a tablet and a laptop, or some combination of those, just let BTC run on the side, even if you're trading against Ethereum too. I mean, literally Ethereum is still tracking to Bitcoin. You know, it's like $100 to Bitcoin's 3,000 usually. You know, it's a 30x, 10x, 30x, yeah, 30x, 27x. Okay, I want to be fair. I like Ethereum. I don't say that to knock it. I think that it's a big deal to be a coin in the $100 range, $200 range, $300 range, anything range like that. But compare whatever you're trading against, have Bitcoin on a separate screen so you can just visually track it, and you'll kind of, it becomes second nature to just always be thinking, okay, my zero is here, because that zero moves with Bitcoin. So, you know, you can also look at XRP in comparison to fiat if you want to. And I would look at it in terms of here. You know, right now there's a slightly better margin there, but it's just familiarity. You know, it looks essentially the same as it did against Bitcoin. But, you know, then you have to do the math of like literally what it is against the dollar. And there it is, 34 cents basically. Which is a lot more than it was when it was at 32 cents. So you'd have to figure out how to factor in the fees. And that's not where my brain is right now, so I can't even begin to answer that question. Because numbers and patterns and patterns and numbers. Do you see how ADA looks almost the same as XRP there? It's a slightly more powerful lift there. So yeah, man, the fact that it's in the 8,700 range is a pretty big deal. And you and I were talking about it when it was around 8,300. So, you know, my belief was, yes, I'd be looking for it in the 8,700s. I'm pretty sure that's exactly what we were talking about. I didn't think it would be like this, but I did think that, you know, this range in here spoke to it. You know, it's gradually going up. So the thing to watch for also, whichever, you know, you can check it out at the 5-minute, check it out at the 6 hour as well. This is, you know, the pulse of what's happening right now. And this is actually the reason I was going to point this out. Make sure that at some point in time, you don't have to watch it all the time, but make sure that you have your eye on some version of the volume. I like VWAP. This is volume weighted average price. I hear people say VWAP, but I don't understand why that would be average price. VWAP, whatever. Volume weighted average price. If this goes too high above it, eventually it's like a rubber band. It's going to snap back to it, and usually down, and then a little bit down, and then back up. So you see, like every time it gets too far away from this, the average is always going to catch up to the volume. You know, if you have an indefinite amount of volume, then it would be one thing. But it's just like a, you know, if you have a tidal wave, that, you know, all of that mass has accumulated over a wave, it's going to crash because now you just have water in the air with gravity. So I mean, it took a lot of momentum to get it up there, and people are buying and buying and buying, and then eventually they're going to realize, well, this is way overbought. And so I mean, that's actually kind of how the stock RSI works: overbought, oversold, overbought, oversold. But it's helpful to see it at the actual movement. And if it stays over that volume for too long of a time, just assume, if you're trading back and forth in a short period of time, your time is running out. If it gets too high over there, eventually it's going to come back down. What you'll also find is if people do keep buying in and keep buying in, keep buying in, the volume's going to go up. So this might be coming down while this is coming up, and then they'll meet at a certain point, and then that's when the wave crashes, and you don't know if it's going to crash up or down. So, yeah, totally agree. Totally agree. And it's like, from the company side, the economy has been very, very good. And people are buying, people are selling, people are, in all of their smartphone contracts and their internet contracts. And the tech sector is just going to grow more and more and more. And that's why I think some of the market's going to realize that that's the way to classify Bitcoin altogether, is just to lump it in with the FANG stocks. But, those people are already crypto savvy. It's not, the finance and old school economics are not in the same category as all the tech stuff. And there's a bit of a war that even politically, centralized government, there's nothing more centralized than the UN. And they're very old school as far as how they want to control different colonization factors globally, and kind of control tightly the economics. But they're giving their thumbs up to blockchain and cryptocurrency and how it's going to free the third world, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They just want to make sure that they're the ones that facilitate doing that. So at some point in time, there's going to be UN coin in the middle of everything. So we'll see how that goes. Didn't you like my voice for that? Wasn't that clever? Okay. Gosh, there's so much stuff. So much stuff. So if you are in the right time zone to watch the next 2 hours, I may wind down by then. I'm trying to kind of push more and more towards just grabbing sleep at the right parts of new sleeping patterns. Just grab little power naps here and there. Oh, I don't want to go into anything new. So yeah, I would watch XLM, TNT, Fuel, Myth, Steam, Raven, Phoenix, OST, and Gas. That's what I would do. Alright guys, I'm going to sign off for now. Thanks for watching. It's going to be fun to continue this tomorrow. Let's hope that this is not, one of those one day and out kind of Bitcoin pump things. Let's hope that it can hold for at least 3 days around 3,800, 3,850. That would be awesome. And that would be a strong indicator that it's a strong week, and therefore people should start buying in more, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All right, God bless you guys. I will be back here soon. We'll be covering more news, more market watch stuff. I need to do tried and true trades. I haven't done it in a couple days now, but I think a day. And I'm going to add, I've already chosen the first coin, and I'm going to do a little bit of news and background and market analysis just on single coins as we go along. All right, for now, Archangel Alts out.